Hello everyone, it's Martia Ramsey. Happy Sunday. I wanted to speak to you all about this virtual learning and just making sure that everyone is staying with a little bit of structure and patience. It's very important that you are not just letting your kids sit up there and learn for about 8 hours a day because you're acting like it's school, or 5 hours. That's too much, just in my opinion. I feel about 2 to 3 hours is enough a day for your kids to learn, because you don't want to overwhelm them and make them just tired of it all in one. And it's very critical that you give breaks in between as well. So one thing that I've been doing with my son, he's in the 4th grade and he's 10 years old, is allowing him to work for about an hour, give him a little break, and then he goes back after about 30 minutes. And he do it again for about an hour, take a break or whatever. And make sure that you are communicating with the teachers and, staying on track of things. And if you get off a track, that's okay. Just communicate with the teachers so that they can know where you are. And if you have things going on, like last week, our power had went out. So I had to make sure I communicated that with the teachers to why my son had missed the meeting. So it's very important that we understand that we are all in this together, and some of it is very hard as far as the work that they are given. I get it. But I know my son's school, the packets that they are giving out from the state are not mandatory and are just work for them to, it's basically busy work. So you don't have to turn those packets in. The packets that they got from school are the ones that they have to turn in. And then we are doing weekly work online, and then weekly homework is the same, which was always online. So just make sure that you have a schedule and really documenting what days you meet, and holding your child responsible if they're old enough to be responsible for those days, especially if they have their own phone and they're doing the Google Meets or the Zoom meetings, making sure that they are staying on top of it, because it's only so much that you can do, especially if you have other children in the household as well. So it's very important that you are being patient with yourself and being patient with your kids and the teachers. So you want to give small rewards, just hey, I got you this little candy, just let your kids know that they are doing good. Give recess. That's very critical. I've been taking my kids to a park, letting them ride their hoverboards. We'll play soccer, we'll play kickball. We'll do that not every day, but at least every other day, because they need that outside break. They need to get that energy out. That's one of the reasons why our kids are arguing, because they need that space. They need to get that adrenaline out, especially little boys. It's very critical. So just keep that in mind. Another thing, last week, it was a tornado warning. And I woke up in the middle of the night. It just was take shelter. It was very scary for me. So me and my kids already had a plan to go in the bathroom. We did that. We took shelter. My power was out, my phone was dying, and so I just felt very unprepared. Although we had a plan, I still felt very unprepared. I was in a panic. It was very scary for me. So the tornado passed. That was a blessing. So the next day I created a plan. And I have some key components to tell you all. So it's just discussing the plan with your children. The key is to go to a space with no windows or less windows as possible. So a closet, a bathroom. And you want to put a mattress or comforter or pillows on top of your bodies. And you make sure that you pray and just console your children and let them know that it's going to be okay. So you want to have a first aid kit, water for everyone, closed-toe shoes, perishable foods like canned goods, fruit, a flashlight with batteries, candles with lighters, portable charger for cell phones. So although I didn't have it when this happened, I made sure this was a wake-up call for me, that I was just more so prepared just in case this happened again. Especially with all that's going on in the world, it's important that we really take precautionary measures and be prepared for anything. So in doing so, I wanted to make sure that I created a fire plan, a fire drill as well, and with a meetup spot with my children, telling them what to do if anything was to ever happen, because when these type of things happen, they aren't planned. So it's important that you have a plan intact, especially if you have an older child that can remember these things. So we created a meetup spot. I let them know, never talk to a stranger. You could yell, scream for help, never get in a car with a stranger. I don't care if they say, oh, I hurt your parent, let them. Whatever. You have to have these conversations with your children. It's very important that we are speaking to our children about these things and not feel like you are overdoing it. Let them know not to ever hide under a bed or in a closet during a fire. It's very important. It's very important that you close the doors to keep the fire out. It's just very important. You teach them about like a window access is to climbing out. You need ladders. It's just very important that you look up this type of information. Me, I'm one of those structured parents. I don't always have it together, but I try my best to have it together just because it's just me, and it's very important that my kids have safety and structure. So the importance of this, like in my book I speak about it, The Guide to Healing While Walking in a Single Mother's Shoes, now available on Amazon.com and at the Cincinnati Public Library of Hamilton County. So it says, we must encourage them to keep trying until they achieve their goal. I set different goals for my children, considering every child learns differently. From the time my son was 3 years old is when he began doing things independently. And for my daughter, she was 2 years old. For that reason, it brought a lot of maturity and responsibilities to both of my children. The same applies as far as them making sure their rooms are clean before bedtime, with all toys need to be removed from underneath the beds and not just thrown improperly into the closet. My children have to make their beds before leaving the house in the mornings. They're responsible for putting on lotion and pajama clothes and socks at night. My children have our system down packed to where they ask me if they can get in the shower or tub once we get home. I mean, they're so dedicated that they argue over who's going to be first getting in the shower. They aren't allowed to sit on my bed in the house with outside clothes on. Therefore, baths are needed before lounging around or having electronic time. I also feel like chores are essential, especially for school-aged children. Daily chores consist of sweeping floors, vacuuming, cleaning off the tables, and putting dishes in the sink. By having this task into motion, it will then teach your children responsibilities and cleanliness. For school-age children, they should have an ample routine for completing homework and house chores before watching TV or using any electronics. By doing so, children will have that work before play mindset and complete important tasks before going to have fun. Everyone does deserve a break, so on weekends, feel free to let your kids run loose. However, on Sunday, your child should focus on completing tasks around the house and homework. Create a system where your children can show you that they are capable of finding themselves a complete outfit with underwear and socks. I teach my kids these things because I want them to be self-sufficient no matter who is around. Having responsibilities and independence creates maturity in your children. It gives them morals and values while enabling key strengths and essential components to daily living. So this is in my book, The Guide to Healing While Walking in a Single Mother's Shoes, and it's in chapter 3, Teaching Maturity and Responsibility. And it starts on page 22. So it's just important that we are really using this quarantine time and really still keeping structure. Don't feel mean because you're giving your kids a bedtime. It's important that we stay sane, because with us being in the house, you know, it does cause a little bit of depression, social anxiety, and it's very important that you are still doing things that makes you happy and that makes your children happy, but while giving structure as well. So it's Martia Ramsey.